Good morning. Welcome another week at the fairgrounds. Equine Edge coverage. We got you. Um, my strongest opinion in the last race as well as race 5. So I like a couple long shots here in race 4 and race 6 to kind of try to key around the 7 in race 5. So let's talk about it. I think here in race 4, 19 minutes, the 3 is going to take a ton of money and opened up as the 4-5 favorite. To be expected, Fade to Gold. It's a Tom Amos. It's a Jose. If you're e-user, you can see my notes down here. Is burned money in 3 of 4 races, and I'm going to try to beat this horse. It can win. The thing is, it's getting to the turf, and maybe it wants the turf, maybe it wants 2 churns, but it keeps coming up short at this level, and I'm not sure that they really want the turf, honestly. So I'm spreading here. I think that CC Fantasy, Paco just won the last race. I mean, this horse is getting over to the turf and off the dirt. GSR goes up 17 points, monster. Paco having a great meet. I think's live. If we watch the race sim here, you can see that the 3 are going to be here forwardly placed, but I think Paco sends. And I think the 4 has a shot. And then Old Fashioned Love Song, going to have to improve for Gustafson. Ben Curtis, though, you looked first time out, sprinting over at Remington and ships in here for Gustafson into a state bred. Right, so been facing Open Company versus easier, but finds a nice state bred spot. You find a big morning line angle at 6-1 on the morning line. You're getting 13-1. I think has a shot. So, and I also use the 1. It's a 1% big bomb getting over to the turf. So I'm trying to beat the 6 surprise, the 8, the 4, the 1. Trying to beat the 3 here. We'll use though if the 3 wins, I think we can still get our money back because also like a price in race 6. So. Race 5, I think this is your single of the day. It'd be the best bet. Mr. Banderas. It's Jose. It's Tom Amos for Maggie Moss. I think this is the goods, though. We talked about the 3 in race 4, but I think this is the goods here for Maggie and Tom. I think sits a great stalking position. There's going to be some speed to chase. Jose going to sit a dream stalking trip, and then I think just take over like the race sim says. You can see here, is 0 for 9, but taking a drop into a 42 maiden special state bred and racing state bred last out, but was in the 9 post. We talk about that all the time. It's so brutal out there. You can't win from the 9 post out. Did I put it here? No. But, they're like 3% over the last year or something. So toss that race, nearly 1 still. Gets a 6-point SOR drop to this state bred main special. So it's a much easier main special state bred race. Nice claim by Maggie and Tom Amos. I think is going to be the goods. It's going to be heavy chalk, but I think easy winner. I think you could daily double into here if you wanted. I like the daily double out, so we're going to talk about that. I caught a bunch here in race 6, and I like Flower Girl as a long shot. That's actually my top pick for Rodriguez and CJ McMahon. They wanted to be on the turf first time out. It got rained off over at Evangeline, and then obviously at Delta, they ran on the dirt. Facing tougher, but this horse wants the turf. You see the 9-point GSR goes 2 sprints to a route. Maybe tries to get a stalking position. There is some other speed here, but maybe goes to the front, going to be forwardly priced, but maybe can rate right off the pace. And I think the 6, who's going to take a lot of action for J Love and Block, this horse doesn't want the dirt or doesn't want the turf. This horse wants the dirt. If it got rained off, this horse had a big look, but it didn't. They stayed on the turf today. I think you can beat this horse. So I'm using a couple prices in the 11 and the 3. I like the 3 best as a long shot. And then I'm using the firster for Walsh and Curtis. And you got to use Jose here, clearly authentic. I'm not sure how this horse will run on the turf, but been facing tougher drops for Rosen. Jose Rise, he's red hot since he showed up. Gonna fit. So Keying on the 7, going to be the heavy favorite. That's my best bet. Trying to key around it. I'd play the daily double off the 7 into the 3, as I mentioned. That's my long shot. One of the long shots of the day there is the 3. You should get a good daily double price, the 7 into the 3 for some pick 3 action. I also think you can daily doubles, or sorry, you think you can play the pick 3 starting in race 5. You can also play the pick 5 if you have interest there. I thought the pick 6 was pretty difficult today, as you can see, as we started the race in race 4 there. And the turf sprint is tough. And then we'll talk race 8. That might have another single for you. So, I don't think Built is anywhere near a lock. And this horse is going to probably take a lot of action. But I'm heavy spread here. You'll see Honky Tonk Highway is the top pick. I think Cultivate has a big shot. That's who I put on top. But this is a tough race, and Built going to take a lot of money, but it's no lock. I do think you got to use here, but I think you can get a price in race 6 and race 7 to key with our chalk in race 5. So that's how I saw it today. If we go to race 9 was the other race that I thought had my strongest opinion. And I think there's a lot of speed here. If we watch the race sim, Viola Magic, it might be a single. I think you can beat Smash It. I like the 5 and 2. I think that's an exacta play. I'm not sure the odds will get, but I do like the 5 and 2, maybe the 5 on top. The 5 is my top pick, and I also like the 2 horse. But I think the speed, I think Smash It gets pressed and I think backs up here. Nice horse, but I'm not sure can run them off their feet. Viola Magic for Steve, one last out in a 62. Ben Racing, won at Fairgrounds, romped by 7 lengths, and essentially was on the lead. But I think might be able to stock right off today. I think Dapper Moon has a little bit of a shot too for Dallas Stewart. And you see Brian Hernandez in town to ride. Has only had 1 ride at the meet, but used to ride here all the time. So, I think one of them can upset. The pick 5 tough because race 8, the turf sprint, I think it's a tough race. But that's what I think today. Race 5 to 7 is key. And then here in the last race, I'm looking at the 5 and maybe a little bit the 2. All right. Good luck. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully I have a little bit of stronger opinion, but got those couple places today. Chat soon. Good luck.